Now, Live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. We have a breaking news update.
We continue to follow the case against the father of the Abundant Life Christian school shooter. Our Maddie Heimsch joins us live this afternoon with that update. Maddie?
Jeffrey Rupp now made his initial appearance in court today, where his bail was set at $20,000 for those 3 felony charges he's facing. They include intentionally giving a dangerous weapon to a minor resulting in death, and that's 2 counts of that one, and another count of contributing to child delinquency. Rupp now appeared on Zoom from jail. He was arrested Thursday morning just before 4 a.m. Dane County District Attorney Ismael Lozan said the charges were the result of a lack of judgment on Ruppnow's part.
This case is unprecedented. These facts allege that Mr. Ruppnow purchased and provided firearms and allowed unlimited access to the internet to his minor child, knowing her concerning history and fragile mental health status. There was no other person who knew the child better than the defendant.
If Ruppnow does get out on bail, he's ordered to have no contact with Abundant Life Christian School. He's also not to possess or purchase any firearms. It comes after the criminal complaint released yesterday revealed several guns were kept in a safe in his home, largely available to his daughter. There was also a victim in attendance at today's hearing, and Ruppnow's status conference is scheduled for June 9th. Reporting live in downtown Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. Let's get a look at our first warn forecast. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is out on our Madison patio. I'd say we bounce back from our frost concerns.
I would concur, yes. And look, gold shades on, that means a warm-up is on the way. It's already pretty nice out here. I'm going to struggle to come back inside to do weather inside because we've got a beautiful stretch of weather ahead. 74 for Saturday, all the way up into the lower 80s by the time we get out into next week. Look at that blue line. That's normal. This is going to be between 10, in some cases 15 degrees above normal as we go out into next week before we cool back down to normal temperatures that you would expect for May. So we got some nice stuff on the way. It's gorgeous out here right now, right on the money. 69 degrees in Madison. That's what we were forecasting for a high temperature today. As we zoom on in, we've got 69s to the Madison airport and east, and then we've got 72 to 73 if you go to the west part of Dane County. Let's plan our night together. Picture perfect Friday. Sunny skies, temperatures dipping down into the 60s by 8 o'clock, 50s by the time we get to noon. No more frost in the forecast, maybe a stray shower overnight. A gorgeous weekend ahead. Well, I'll give you your Mother's Day forecast when I return for Maine weather. And with that above normal temperatures next week, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some increased rain chances, which will certainly interest those that are looking for water.
Such a big weekend too, Alex,
yes.
with Badger graduation this weekend. Welcome home, Badger grads. Thank you so much. Another outage is causing flight delays for passengers at Newark Liberty International Airport. Air traffic controllers lost radar for about 90 seconds this morning. It comes less than 2 weeks after an outage of radar and communications at the same facility left controllers unable to talk to planes or see where they were located. From that incident, about half a dozen controllers requested trauma leave, which can last up to 45 days. The White House says the DOT and the FAA are working to address the outages.
This as air traffic controllers say the Federal Aviation Administration sugar-coated its internal report on the chances of a major communications breakdown. Last year, the FAA moved air traffic controllers overseeing Newark to a new site in Philadelphia. A report on the risks of that decision from 2022 concluded despite the major severity of a potential data outage, there was only a medium overall risk. An FAA spokesperson says standard risk management processes are applied anytime there are changes to the system or when safety issues are identified.
In a little more than a week, Leo will formally be installed as Pope. Pope Leo XIV, the first pontiff born and raised in the U.S., led his first Mass as the new leader of the Catholic Church this morning in the Sistine Chapel, where he briefly addressed the cardinals in English who elected him.
Through the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me.
Like Pope Francis, Pope Leo chose not to wear the red loafers preferred by traditionalist popes. Instead, he was seen wearing simple black shoes. He also chose to spend his first night as pope in his residence instead of the apostolic palace where popes traditionally live.
Well, I hope everyone's taking a little breather today because
Yeah.
graduation and Mother's Day make for a very busy weekend downtown in Madison.
Our Ellie La Liberté introduces us to one business owner who is taking advantage of it.
Laura Comay is quite literally making the most of a busy weekend on State Street.
We have about 100 local and independent artists that we work with. My sister and I design items. We spend the whole year collecting cards for Mother's Day.
Laura and her sister own Anthology, a paper and craft shop in downtown Madison.
And this is probably the biggest card weekend for us of the whole year.
That big boom in business brought by thousands of people flooding to the Isthmus.
Graduation weekend brings a millions of dollar impact to the businesses in downtown, which are 85% locally owned. These are our neighbors that are really benefiting from this money coming in from all across America into our downtown.
People like the Kearney family.
We are getting ready to go to my brother's graduation. He's graduating from the University of Wisconsin Business School today.
Those special moments that call for a card.
We're a small business, but to have a part in, people's relationships and the connections that they make with each other.
Reporting downtown Madison, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. On Thursday, Anthology sold nearly 400 cards, which the owner says might be a record.
Well, next on Live at 4, the budget process is officially underway.
What's next for your dollars after Republicans killed most of the governor's proposals?
Spends too much and spends recklessly and raises taxes and has way too much policy, and so we'll work from base.
That is Republican Representative and co-chair of the state's powerful budget writing committee, Mark Bourne, explaining why the committee scrapped most of the governor's budget proposals Thursday.
Governor Evers responded with a statement reading in part, Republicans consistently reject basic common sense proposals that can help kids, families, farmers, seniors, and Wisconsinites across our state, all while Republicans offer no real or meaningful alternative of their own.
So where does the budget go from here?
Political analyst Brandon Schultz is joining us with the answer. Good to see you again.
Hi, Brandon. Good to see you.
Nice to see you all.
So why did the committee kill almost all of Governor Evers' proposals?
Because they have done this every budget cycle for the last 4 cycles. So when you have split government and you have one party in the executive branch and one in the legislature, they're rarely going to agree on the same thing. So this has happened every budget for the last 3 or 4 budgets. Governor submits his budget, the Republicans say thank you very much, then they set it aside and they introduce what's called an Assembly and Senate amendment, and that's what they start to work off of. And we'll get into that, but that's the working point. So I guess you could say now, let the games begin.
So it's part of the process.
This is all part of it's part of the process, but it's more the political process,
Right.
which we know is really deep in the budget.
Well, and speaking of that, Republican Senator Howard Markline, who co-chairs the committee, made a comment that some of the more popular items in the budget may eventually come back,
That's
which
right.
raises the question, then why cut them in the first place?
Great question, because what happens is when they write a budget, they put all sorts of stuff in it. We're going to go through just some of the things that are in there, but they're policy. They don't have money. They're policy. So what the legislature and Joint Finance says is, if you want to do policy, let's have a hearing, introduce bills. So they pull it out. They've done this in every budget for the last several times. They pull all the policy stuff out, 600 items. And as Bourne and Markline and others have said, we don't necessarily disagree, but we think it should go through the legislative process. Some of it may come back in through Joint Finance. So it just kind of depends, but they're going to start a base budget, which we're going to talk about just briefly.
Let's do that now. Yeah, let's break it down.
Sure, the buzz in the Capitol is now Joint Finance is really getting down, rolling up their sleeves, they're getting ready to work. Yesterday, they did take their first action, which was to take out 600 more items out of the budget, which is policy, and introduce their own budget amendment, which is essentially today's budget, which they call the base budget. Now, remember, we're working with Joint Finance. There's 16 members on Joint Finance, 12 Republicans, 4 Democrats, because of how the majority is set, 6 from the Assembly, 6 from the Senate, 2 from the Senate and the Assembly for the Democrats. So you're going to see a lot of 12-4 votes. It's not like it's going to be close and it's going to be one vote here. So a lot of this is going to happen kind of no matter what. But there will be things we hope that they do agree on and things that they do say this is important. So, we want to see, what we want to talk about is where your dollar goes, how much of it goes. And we're going to talk about only our tax dollars. So the things that we paid for in the budget for agencies, this is how much tax money they take from everybody to use. And as Senator Markline said, we now start the budget process. So this is kind of the kickoff what they did yesterday. There are going to be dozens of hearings and votes in the next several weeks as they go through all the agencies and all these items that they're going to bring in and take out and put more in, spend more money, maybe cut some out of the budget, that are in there already. You may see stuff disappear. So in the executive session yesterday, we said they took 600 items out. They had their substitute budget amendment put together. And they took action on 10 small agencies just to say, you're done, you're done, you're done. So they approved those and move them on. And that was like the Court of Appeals, the Employment Relations Committee, the Governor's Office, things like that. So what the governor and the majority will do is they take Evers' budget, they set it aside. So now they have their own, and it is, like I said, it's a base budget. And as Markline said, to your question, we want to debate these issues, and maybe they should be debated by separate bills. So that's why you see that budget slimmed down a little bit. And as Markline said, he wants to see that debated. Now, some of the legislators are saying that this process could be different this time just because of the way things might happen. Could it be that they introduce something and the governor vetoes it, or if there's numbers in there, he vetoes the numbers, or if they don't use numbers in the budget, they use words? Well, he can veto the words, but he can't put together numbers for different types of spending. So just a couple of things about some of these things that are taken out of the budget. They took out a 5th new tax bracket for high wage earners. They took out state payments to local governments that if they don't cut property taxes, the state will give them money. It's kind of unfair because people from across the state are giving money to a place they don't live. Marijuana legislation came out, Medicaid expansion came out, and the Office of Health Insurance Claims was taken out, elimination of tax on cash tips and utility bills, all sorts of things that nobody's debated, nobody's talked about. They're all put in the budget, and now they're all out. So what they're going to do now is they're going to start going through agency by agency. So in our next graphic, we show where a lot of this tax money goes. And we've talked about in the past on some of the big spending items that they have. So you have the K through 12 education, just tax dollars alone are $7 billion, almost $8 billion. University of Wisconsin's almost $1.5 billion. Health services are $7 billion. So you go right down the list, corrections, shared revenue, and all of the 50 agencies, it's almost $3.5 billion of just tax money, not federal money, not SEG, not program, just your tax dollars. So that's where it comes from. So where do we go from here? Joint Finance is going to meet 2 to 3 times in the next couple of weeks. They're going to have hearings, they're going to have votes, and this is going to roll really, really fast till the end of May, and then they're going to be done. It's going to go to the legislature, they have to approve it, it goes to the governor, he has to sign it or veto it, and if he vetoes it, then they have another fight. But in the end, Republicans don't have enough votes to override a veto. So sometime by the end of June, when our fiscal year ends, we should have a budget. Doesn't have to be. We've seen this go till October.
Wow.
So it's going to be a long run. We hope they're going to be done. Tune in next week because we'll know where they go and how much progress they're making. And if viewers have questions, they should call their legislator.
And we look forward to visiting with you again about everything. Thanks for walking us through
Probably
all this.
next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. Good to see you. And as the budget process moves forward, we could see, as Brandon just said, new numbers coming out next week.
Political reporter Will Keneally is here to show us. Will?
That's right. On this week's For the Record, we sat down with the head of the Legislative Fiscal Bureau. Now, these are the financial experts that help lawmakers craft the state budget. Now, they also create some estimates. For example, how much money does Wisconsin take in so we know how much to spend? Now, we could see an updated figure on how much Wisconsin has collected next Thursday.
Historically, regardless of party, governors have used our numbers, as has the legislature, regardless. On May 15th, coming up in a couple of days, we will revise our numbers, our January numbers that the governor's budget was based on.
All right, so why this is important. Republican lawmakers want to pass a tax cut before the state budget gets finalized. Now, these numbers that we'll get on Thursday could help Wisconsin figure out how much of a tax cut we could afford. Now, this is part of a larger discussion, and you can see more from our interview coming up this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record.
Thank you, Will. A bit of national news. This weekend, American and Chinese officials will meet to talk trade. In a series of posts ahead of the meeting, the president says China should import more U.S. goods, and in return, he thinks the U.S. could lower its 145% tariff on most Chinese goods. China's exports to the U.S. fell sharply last month.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Alex is here in the studio with us, and boy, UW graduation and mom, the grads and moms won the lottery, the weather lottery.
Oh, I second that. It's gorgeous. It was hard for me to come in and have to put this suit jacket on because it's so nice out there right now. Maybe just a stray shower tonight as part of the 3 things you need to know. But just as Susan said, a stellar weekend ahead, almost summer-like. Next week staying way above normal too. Starting off with tonight, we'll do lows right around 50 to 51 degrees. That's mild for this time of year. You might even crack the window open just a little bit because we're expecting winds to be light. Saturday, graduation leading up to Mother's Day. Here we go. 74 in Madison, upper 70s to the west over parts of our Mississippi River Valley friends. So beautiful day, sunny skies, light winds. And I always like to emphasize in the spring, when we have light winds, that's a good thing because sometimes in the spring it's so windy and it takes a little bit of a bite when we get warm if it's windy, but not on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day early from me to you out there. 77, sunny skies, mild conditions, and again, those light winds. Then we go all the way up from 77 to 78, all the way up to 80 to 82, and then we dip. Well, what's going on here? Well, we have a weather system of significance as we go Thursday into Friday, but even the temperatures going all the way out into next weekend are still close to normal for this time of year. Now, weather system of significance means the chance of water. Our drought monitor updated yesterday. Not really any big changes across southern Wisconsin. Our friends Platteville, Darlington, Monroe, you're still reeling with moderate drought conditions. Not a good place if you're a farmer in far southwest Wisconsin to be heading into planting season with abnormally dry conditions. But I do have some water in the forecast. I've upped the water chances Tuesday afternoon and then also Thursday going into Thursday afternoon and evening with that cold front. Later in our 4 o'clock newscast, you want to join us in the next half hour. I'm going to give you a glimpse of what those shower and thunderstorms will be like in terms of timing, when you can expect that rainfall. Overall, in the next 10 days, we've had this increase again here, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. I hope that this stays consistent because we'll need that water after that really long stretch of warm temperatures. Planning the evening. Take it outside is my words from me to you. Nice evening to be out for dinner. 70s, dipping down into the 60s. Clear skies, and we'll go down into the upper 50s when you join me again in the 10 o'clock newscast. I didn't even bring a jacket today because I knew it would be mild all through the evening and staying mild all the way out through the 10-day forecast here. Mother's Day, 78 or 77. On Mother's Day, I just needed to move the icon. Mother's Day is not on Monday, but we can continue to celebrate on Monday. Our temperatures out through next week. This is what you'd see, Brady and Susan, in June and July. Lows around 60, highs in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. But again, be tuning in throughout the weekend and early next week. Thursday's cold front may bear some watching for a strong storm.
Thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, celebrate Mom Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
All month long.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, from cooking shows to nature documentaries, streaming services have something new to offer you this weekend.
Will Loper shows us where to watch and what to watch when we come back.
Streaming this weekend that will make you both hungry and inspire you to travel the world.
Will Loper shows us what's new to streaming.
I'm going through my mom and Nona's recipes, and then I realized food is love. So I want to open an Italian restaurant. What are you, crazy?
Get in touch with your inner Italian grandmother with Nona's, newly streaming on Netflix.
It has to work because it's not just a restaurant, it's more about family, especially for people who may not have family anymore. Maybe the one good idea we can take from this is not to fight in the kitchen.
Oh, she started it.
You ladies are killing me.
Vince Vaughn stars as a man who loses his mother and to honor her memory opens a restaurant with real Italian grandmas as the chefs.
I am from Bologna. I spit on Bologna. Spit on Sicily, okay?
He's seeing the blades of grass, and he's turning himself into blades of grass.
This is a story about the octopus.
What creature does that?
Learn all about cephalopods in the 2-part documentary Octopus, newly streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
I think that they're very charismatic, even though they're very ugly.
I thank you so much for having me. I like to blend in. I don't want to look like a tourist. You want to buy a map? And it just says, Google it!
And travel around the world once again with Conan O'Brien Must Go Season 2, newly streaming on Max.
It's very important to get a local guide. Is it Javier Bardem? Is it Bardem?
Yeah, I was forced to be here.
The TV host travels to countries like Spain and New Zealand, packing his signature humor for the journey.
When in New Zealand, you have to haka with Taika Waititi.
There we go.
These are good eyes, right?
They're good eyes for the
Then why don't you put me in a film?
This is it.
No!
For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
Look at them go!
I watched the first season of that.
Yeah.
I recommend it. I can't wait to watch Nona's,
I
too.
know, that looks good.
Yeah. But there's too much going on. Maybe next weekend. Coming up, the FDA has approved a first-of-its-kind at-home screening test.
And Armand Rahman shares one student's unique graduation.
Now, Live at 4, moving forward.
Ooh, that looks like fun. Kudos to them. How chilly do you think that water is,
I
though?
was just going to say that. It's nice and warm today, but I bet the water is still on the cool side. But now we warm up, are the weather words.
So go water skiing or maybe just find a patio for now. That sounds pretty good, huh, Alex?
Great transition there as I'm out here on the patio. It's beautiful out here. Light winds, sunny skies. I looked up into the sun, so I'm going to have to step a little bit forward so I can actually see my screen here. And our temperatures are gorgeous out there right now, and they're going to continue to be wonderful for this time of year. Mid to upper 70s climbing all the way up to 82 by next Thursday, and even as we cool down later next week. Temperatures still at or slightly above normal overall. 69 here in Madison. That was the high I was going for today. We might get 70 or 71 yet. We have 74 in the Wisconsin River Valley, 74 in the Dells, and 70 in Janesville right now. All these gold colors here mean that it's nice temperature outside here, and we got 72s and 73s to the west of the airport, 69 at the airport, and 69 down on the highway as we head down towards McFarland and over towards Edgerton. A beautiful evening, as you said, to get outside, go out on a patio, maybe an evening lunch, an evening dinner outdoors, and temperatures slowly working their way down through the 50s. We'll have low 50s tonight, and it will be sunny this weekend. It'll be warm next week, and I said a little bit later in this half hour, I'm going to show you some rain chances and how that's all going to play out next week, because we could use the drops with the warm weather on the way.
Thanks, Alex. We have new information about the case against the father of the Abundant Life Christian School shooter. 42-year-old Jeffrey Ruppnow made his first appearance in court this afternoon. Ruppnow is charged with 2 felony counts of intentionally selling dangerous weapons to a minor and 1 felony count of contributing to child delinquency. The Dane County District Attorney requested the court set a $100,000 bond for Ruppnow. The commissioner ultimately chose to set it at $20,000.
A criminal complaint against Ruppnow alleges that his daughter had access to numerous guns and that her father was aware of her ongoing mental health issues. Court records say on December 15th, Ruppnow, at his daughter's request, removed one of his guns from his home safe. He allegedly told investigators that he didn't remember if the gun was returned before he closed the safe back up. The next day, his daughter shot and killed a classmate, a teacher, and herself. 6 other students got hurt, including one who is in the hospital, still in critical condition. Ruppnow's next court appearance is set for June 9th.
There is now an alternative to in-clinic pap smears. The FDA approved an at-home test called Teal Wand from the company Teal Health. It's for women aged 25 to 65 at average risk. The approval comes after a study confirmed self-collected samples with the device perform as accurately as clinician-collected samples. Teal Health's study found most participants thought they would be more likely to stay up to date with cervical cancer screenings if they could do it at home. and even more said they would prefer to self-collect at home.
Well, today some new doctors were celebrated and sent off at UW-Madison.
Arman Rahman introduces us to a special one excited to help people in rural areas of the state.
When you're graduating, all eyes are on the new places you hope to go. But for Shane Hoffman, he's excited to get back to the places just like the ones he's come from.
Grew up on a dairy farm.
Now, Hoffman is on track to start his residency, then eventually be a surgeon at a small hospital in northern Wisconsin. But he's finishing med school a year early.
Shane Hoffman.
Hoffman's the first graduate of the Wisconsin Academy for Rural Medicine's Excellence in Rural Residencies track. He grew up in Lake Mills, and while access to healthcare was okay for his family growing up, while working at a hospital in Adams Friendship, he saw what others have to experience firsthand.
Really got a deep appreciation for rural healthcare because I saw the disparities that patients I was treating came in with compared to what I saw at UW when I was going through training. And then when I was at that hospital, it's two nurses and one doctor, so I got a lot of one-on-one shadowing time with the physician, and that is what pushed me over to the edge to say I'm going to go to medical school.
Roughly 31% of Wisconsin residents live somewhere rural, but only 1 in 10 physicians practice in those areas. I'll have more on the disparities Hoffman hopes to address as a rural doctor and what's next for the accelerated track tonight at 6. For now, reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Arman. The Wisconsin Academy for Rural Medicine, or WARM, was started at UW in 2007. It's graduated more than 300 students. 3/4 of them have come back to Wisconsin after residency, and almost half of those are in rural areas.
Let's check stocks to end the work week. U.S. stocks closed mixed at the end of an unusually quiet week. The Dow dropped 119 points. The Nasdaq barely made any moves, up less than 1 point, and the S&P 500 stood still too, down just 4 at the close.
Almost 46 years after his death, the family of Dane County Sheriff's Officer Harland Orsburn is receiving a special honor. Today, the Dane County Sheriff took a moment to officially acknowledge the family of Officer Orsburn, who died in a car crash while on duty. He was just 38 years old. His picture has been hanging in the Dane County Sheriff's Office for years, but his family never received the special honor reserved for loved ones of fallen officers until today.
We've been coming to the police memorial since it began at this building, and it's just grown and grown, and unfortunately every year there's someone to honor. So thanks to Deputy Haley, we're kind of getting a little moment for our dad.
He wasn't the only fallen officer honored today. Later on News 3 Now at 6, we'll show you how Wisconsin is remembering Wisconsin law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty.
Coming up next on Live at 4, a local effort to help kids stay healthy.
We sit down with Pogi the Yogi.
Feel Good Friday, we're highlighting the work of a local yogi.
Karina and Patrick Cunningham are the founding team behind Pogi the Yogi. It's a yoga series for kids made in Madison, and their most recent segment included UW's Happy Professor, you know her, Christine Whelan, and Pogi and Dr. Whelan are joining us now. Hi.
Nice to see you both.
Thank you so much.
Can we talk about this coordination? We have red, blue, we're set.
Very happy. Very happy.
So how did this series get started?
Well, Pogi started whenever we were looking for shows for kids where they get to go on adventures and meet interesting people and just really share about yoga and moving our bodies and kind of calming our minds. And so we really love to get the chance to make it.
And why is yoga important for kids or beneficial for kids?
Yoga is so important for kids because whenever you can move your body and breathe and just be present with whatever's going on inside your body and around you, it's so much better to stay grounded and so that you can face the day whatever comes.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Dr. Whelan, you get to be a part of this.
Yes.
How do you figure into this?
So usually I speak to college students, but then I got to speak to Pogi and talk to younger kids about happiness, about connection, about why when we think about happiness, we're not just thinking about smiling all the time, but we're thinking about coming together, about purpose and meaning. It was a really fun episode, right?
I learned so much. I was so grateful for everything you shared. I'm really glad I got to share with my yogi friends.
And I learned some yoga.
Are we just going to say, are you a yogi?
I am not at all.
Now you're a
Now I am.
Yeah.
I'm a yogi in training, thanks to you.
You did a wonderful job. And the important part was you tried something new. And it can be a little scary when we try something new, but I think when we do it together, it's so much more just helpful.
So Pogi, for people who are not familiar with the series, tell us a little bit about it and where people can watch it.
Well, everyone can see Pogi the Yogi on YouTube. It's free. All the episodes are there. And the series, we get to go on all these adventures, meet interesting people, learn about what they do and what they love and what they care about. And then we take all that inspiration back to the mat for a little bit of yoga-inspired movement at the end. It's kind of like if Mr. Rogers taught yoga.
Oh, that's
very
good.
nice.
That's a good analogy.
And big shout out to Karina Cunningham, the original creator, executive producer. And she, I've read during the pandemic, couldn't find many kids shows that taught this. And she was like, Pogi, I have a job for you.
It was so nice, and she is such a creative, bright person that I'm really grateful I get to work with her every single day.
Yeah,
You know,
nice.
kids, Christine, have some pent-up energy. A lot of kids struggle with anxiety.
They do.
This is something that can kind of help them learn to
Absolutely.
exhale and breathe and calm.
Kids of all ages.
And
We've all got-
adults.
Exactly, right? We've all got some anxiety. So the idea of taking it to the mat, of making connections with other people, and of sharing our gifts in keeping with our values. So I'm really honored to be on Pogi's show.
And I think a lot of people out there, adults and kids, might find yoga to be
intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating. Where do you start? So how can kids just incorporate this into simple movements?
Well, absolutely. And I think the best way to start is to just say, you know what, right here, today, in this spot, I'm going to do a little bit of yoga. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about how pretzel-y you get or how you move. It's just about breathing and being present with yourself and your body and what's going on right now. And I always tell kids, you know, whenever they're watching, they can follow along. And if they have a yoga mat, great, use that. If they don't, that's okay too. You can use a blanket. You can even just use your imagination. Say, you know what? This spot is where I'm going to be present and do yoga today.
So it's just the basics. You're like establishing a foundation.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
just something to try. And it doesn't have to be complicated, and it should be fun.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research to support this.
Yeah.
This is about embodied happiness, right? About not just thinking it and changing how you think, but changing how you feel in your body.
Yeah.
So starting young and really getting that in the minds of kids and the bodies of kids is something that is a gift for future generations.
So by the time they get to you in college,
They're ready.
Oh, they're going to be ready to teach the class. It's great.
Well, speaking of teaching, is it a curriculum that school teachers could adopt?
Yes, we have a lot of teachers that play Pogi in their classrooms, and it's so nice when we get pictures sent to us of kids in the classroom doing yoga or following along. It's something that we really appreciate it. And we have a whole series called Pogi Goes to School, specifically for kids in the classroom.
All right,
Well, we have to do Pogi Does the News.
Before we wrap, where can people find this?
YouTube, Pogi to
YouTube?
Yogi.
All right, very good.
Great to see you both.
Great to see
Happy
you too.
Mother's Day. Have a good
You
weekend.
too.
Thank you all very much.
Coming up on Live at 4, Alex shows us our, I guess, yoga forecast where you can go outside and enjoy some nice weather.
Temperatures might hit 80 degrees. Here we go. And later, our Josh Spreiter has a weekend planner for you and your family in the 608. We'll be right back.
All right, I'll kick us off here with the first warm forecast. Stray shower tonight, but it will be mild. This weekend's going to be absolutely probably one of the best weekends of the spring so far. Maybe one of the best Mother Day forecasts we've had in some years as well. Staying warm next week, and when you got a stretch of warm weather, if you're a gardener or farmer, you might be thinking about water chances too, and we're going to talk about that here momentarily as well. 51 for a low temperature tonight to 53. You might want to just crack the windows open a little bit, have a little bit of that fresh air move into the house. It's a gorgeous Saturday planned here for you as well. 74s, 76s, some 77s out to the west, out towards the Mississippi River. Plenty of sun, light wind, so that's certainly good news. Future track showing just a few clouds as we head towards 10, 11 o'clock, but it's these clouds that might have a raindrop or two. If you have any plans outdoors for later this evening, just don't be surprised that a raindrop or two may occur. Not expecting any heavy showers or thunderstorms tonight, but there we go. We warm all the way up to 82 degrees. We were just mentioning 80s are in the forecast, and they are. With that Thursday, 82, could be some strong storms. Got some rain chances on Tuesday. I've bumped those up. Rain chances Thursday going on into Thursday night with that cold front. So if you want some water, we have some water on the way. Here's how it plays out. Tuesday afternoon, with the heat of the day, pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Sometimes we call these popcorn showers and thunderstorms because the clouds look like puffy popcorn. They look like popcorn. We'll just leave it at that. And then those pop-up showers and storms can give you a localized heavy burst of rain, some lightning, some thunder. Then they go away at night when the heat of the day goes away. Maybe a couple showers as we go into Wednesday, some more pop-up showers. But watch on Thursday as we go Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. This is a line of thunderstorms, and some of these storms could be on the strong side. It's still days away, but we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Still 69 out there right now. 70 has warmed up now in Janesville. Gainesville. Out to the west, we have lower 70s. We even have a 78 way up on the interstate. And it's that warm air off towards the west that's going to be moving in on Saturday. Kind of a dividing here between the 60s and the 70s in Dane County, but zero complaints, I'm sure, because it's quite nice. And it'll stay nice all the way through the evening. Sunny skies turn to just clear skies. You'll see the moon tonight. Overnight low temperatures again in the lower 50s. As we head out into the future, there's our temperatures in the upper 70s to the lower 80s all the way out to Thursday. And again, I want to emphasize Thursday, keeping an eye on that day because we could be looking at a strong storm or two. And then we have our Stoughton Festival coming up the following weekend. Saturday looks like to be the pick of that weekend as showers and thunderstorms may be moving back into the picture by that following Sunday and Monday. Live at 4 will be back in just a couple minutes.
Hey, and that means everybody is working for the weekend.
Come on, Alex.
In the 608. We can do it again.
Yeah, we can do it again.
1, 2, 3.
Happy Friday!
There you go.
Good at it.
All right. Josh Ryder is in the studio with the weekend planner for your family.
Well, whether you're celebrating Mother's Day this weekend or just looking forward to getting outside for some fresh air, there's plenty going on this weekend in the 608. And here are my 3 things to do. Mother's Day weekend means citywide garage sales are back for many communities across the 608. Some of the biggest happening right now include Monona, Waunakee, and Verona, to name a few. Most are already underway today, running until supplies last through the weekend. Happening both Saturday and Sunday, Jurassic Quest is roaring into the Alliant Energy Center in Madison. Don't miss the life-size dinosaurs, walking dinosaur rides, a life-size T-Rex skull, and even fossils. Tickets online start at $28 with various times still available. If you type in the promo code DINO30, our News 3 Now viewers will save 30% on those tickets as well. And finally, Lodi and Lake Wisconsin Restaurant Week is underway through Sunday. So for the rest of the week, you can indulge in mouth-watering dishes from the finest local eateries, featuring exclusive menus and unbeatable deals. Whether you're a foodie, enjoy a great cocktail, or just looking forward to a delightful night out, this is your chance to explore the vibrant tastes of their community. For more happenings this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. Happy weekend in the 608. I'm Josh Breder, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, a lot going on this weekend. I think a lot of people will be outside.
Outside, as you were saying, graduation. We've got Mom's Day on Sunday. This is probably one of the best Mother's Day forecasts that I have done.
In a long time.
Yeah. We've had snow on Mother's Day.
Right.
Not this year. We've got upper 70s in the forecast, sunny skies, light winds, and then we stay warm pretty much all the way through next week. More like June and July weather. More at 5 on the latest.
Here's what's coming up Monday on Live at 4. Dr. Shyla Mergain will be here. We'll talk about how to help your kids handle the transition of graduation. And later on News 3 Now at 5, Villanova students react to an alumni being chosen as Pope. Thanks for watching Live at 4, everybody, on this Friday. We hope to see you right back here on Monday. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.